Welcome. My name's Cadon, and this is my new channel, Middle Class to Millionaire. This channel, we're going to go over our journey on creating real life wealth. I'm a 32-year-old husband, father, firefighter, and restaurant owner. How do you think my 2020 went? I received my bachelor's in personal financial planning from Texas Tech University. After I graduated, I spent a number of years in the finance industry, and I met thousands of people and learned a lot of cool things that hopefully I can share with you. I also received my Series 6, 63, and life insurance. So something that we had to have whenever I worked for the bank in order to sell products to clients, help get them in front of our financial advisor, you name it, it was required. So it was a great time, great study. It's a great reflection of my degree, but it was something that we had to have. On the fire department, I'm known as the money guy. I guess it could be known as the drunk guy or the lazy dude, but I'll take the money guy. Almost every morning or throughout the day, I get numerous texts, emails, calls from guys wanting to know practical things that aren't so practical or common sense stuff. But I always say there's nothing more uncommon than common sense these days, especially whenever it comes to finances. And it's so crazy that so many of the guys don't even have savings accounts. And these are not just firemen. These are just guys from all walks of life or girls that have needed financial help. And every time I go onto YouTube, I look and it's always, how much taxes do I have to pay on $14 million? Or how much do I have to pay for my Ferrari? But rarely do you see many channels that just go over the day-to-day steps on creating wealth, saving, planning, and how to become a millionaire. So, welcome to this channel. Hope you tune along. Now, whenever we're going on this channel, we're talking about net worth millionaire, not income of $1 million. Because wouldn't we all like to have an income of $1 million? Well, sure. But even though income is a perfect correlation of someone who is going to become a millionaire, it's not the end-all be-all. When I was in the finance industry, I had two clients. Let's call them Client A and Client B. Client A was a very frugal client, shall we say. This individual worked his entire career for the city. Probably the easiest way to do that without kind of giving anything away. Gentleman never worked, probably more than 60 hours a week. Never made more than probably 60 to 80,000 in his entire career. But was a millionaire. He came in one day, speaking to another colleague of mine, asking for help on what he needed to do with his investments. So the colleague just was kind of puzzled and came to me and we both looked at the account together. And this gentleman who has only made 60 to 80,000 a year had built up a fortune. Well, to him is a fortune, and to me it'd be a fortune, and most likely to most of you. But he had saved up north of $1.3 million in his little investment account. It wasn't really a little investment account. It was a big investment account. Now, this had nothing to do with his retirement from the city or retirement from the state, but this was something that he just always put away from day one. He just continued to invest into a Roth IRA. Now, it was crazy to see how somebody who never made more than 60 to 80,000 a year created that much wealth. There had to have been something to it, right? Maybe, and we'll go over more. I also had Client B. Client B was a high income earner. He was without giving it away, he was a healthcare professional. He made 25 to 50,000 every 2 weeks. I'll let you do the math. The gentleman called all the time, wondering whether or not his account was overdrawn. Yeah, you heard me right. One time I was in my office and I get a call throughout the day, and I pick it up and Client B was on the other line. He was out eating lunch with some, I guess you say, coworkers of his, or maybe some customers. I'm not really sure what it might have been. But he begged me not to let his debit card decline. How could his debit card decline with that much income, you might ask? So I quickly did a look into his account, kind of see what I could do. And sure enough, he was in the red by a lot. A lot of times some banks will allow customers to go into the red knowing that there has been income coming in the future. But unfortunately, The only answer I had to say to him was, I'm not sure if it's going to decline. It's out of my control. But so were his finances. His finances were out of his control. Or were they? So here I had client A, like a millionaire, not even making more than $60,000, $80,000 in his career each year. And you had client B making that in a month and didn't have anything to show for it. So what I gathered from working in the finance industry is it doesn't matter how much money you make, but what you do with your money. Real life practical steps to becoming a millionaire. I have guys all the time call and question about the stock market, what it's going to do tomorrow, and where it's going to go from here. Unfortunately, my answer is always the same. I don't know. But the companies that I invest in and the companies that I recommend that people invest in, of course, it's just a recommendation because at the end of the day, hey, I'm not a professional. Just someone who has studied this, someone who is a nerd in this industry. Yeah, bring it. I'm a nerd at heart, but yet I find a lot of joy in researching finances, everything about finances. Trust accounts. What are trust accounts? What are investment accounts? The difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, or a SEP IRA, or simple. Anything like that. It's fun. Researching companies. Everything from Tesla to the new penny stock that's hitting the market. Will Tesla become number one, or will they tank? I get questions all the time. But always go back to the root. Invest what you believe in. Save for what you believe in. But at the end of the day, don't stop doing that. Don't stop saving. Don't stop investing. So going back to what net worth is. So we're not talking about income. Income of $1 million versus what we're trying to create is a net worth of $1 million. So that is your assets minus your liabilities make your net worth. Easiest way to put that is what you own minus what you owe. Let's do an easy calculation here. Let's say you have a $100,000 home, but you owe $90,000. $100,000 home, $90,000. That home is worth $10,000. Let's say it's your only assets. Now you have a net worth of $10,000. As that home appreciates, of course, your net worth can go up. Let's say you have a house that is, again, $100,000, but you owe $110,000. Now you're upside down. Now your net worth is actually negative, which is most of you, unfortunately. But let's switch this around. There's so many things that you can do to create a positive net wealth or net worth. There's simple practical things. From day one, always save, always plan, always invest for the future. Because one day you'll become a millionaire. Now let me stop you there. I get a lot of people say, well, why do you want to be a millionaire? And it doesn't have to be $1 million. It could be $500,000. It could be 10 million. Whatever your number is important to each and every one of you. For my wife and I, our most important thing is to become financially free, to be able to save and retire with dignity, and also to retire whenever we want to, not when I'm forced to. Also, I want to be able to create a legacy. I want to be able to look at my family tree and see how my family tree has been impacted by steps that we have made and the steps by others in our family. Yes, they might be monetary steps, but steps in general. I had a client one time who came in. This gentleman worked for a large transport company. This guy was actually very financially smart. He saved and invested his entire career. Gentleman, after he retired, he brought over his retirement and we set him up with a traditional IRA to get him ready to enjoy his retirement. The gentleman was able to save north of $900,000. $900,000. This gentleman had his house paid for, his car paid for, just hit 60, is about to start enjoying his retirement. About 5 to 6 months later, the gentleman came back in my office asking for a direct deposit slip to start a new job at the same company. He had blown through $900,000 for his retirement and was going back to square one. It ate me up inside. I couldn't believe here someone was entering their retirement, but unfortunately was not able to retire. So this was an impractical situation, some might call it practical, on what can happen with poor money management. So let's enjoy this journey together. Let's not make dumb financial decisions. Let's change our family tree, and let's get back to square one. Plan, save, invest for the future. And one day, we'll all be able to join the Millionaire Club. Thanks again. Make sure if you like this video, like it, subscribe it, and comment if you have any questions. And stay tuned for further. Thanks.